Right, what I'm doing is I'm making a film about, well, it's an Ibiza film. It starts in the Isle of Man, and then it's the film of the last 3 years of our life, which tells a really good story about how to build a brand, hopefully as big as Cream, in less than 5 years with no money. Quite an impossible task, but I'm about halfway through it, and the idea was to launch the brand on the back of the film, and on the back of the first film have tap management, tap promotions, tap entertainment, and then a second film where we take the brand to the biggest club in the world, which is Privilege, and do weekly nights in Privilege, hopefully entertaining about 15,000 people at once.
So this is going to be a feature film, is it?
It's going to be a documentary shot style feature film, a bit of a weird one. It's going to be shot guerrilla style and very simple, but it's going to be proper actors. I've got a famous comedian who I can't name yet because he's not signed the contract, who's going to be playing me. Another famous comedian called Robert Heaney, who's from the Isle of Man, is scripting it with me, and he comes over next week to put the humour into it. It's going to be a serious film, but it's also going to carry some humour. And 2 years into this challenge, I found out that I had a condition called ADHD. And this film is going to be a little bit of an awareness film to show what you can achieve when you've got ADHD, because so many of these kids are getting labelled at a young age with ADHD, and they are just classed as naughty kids. Now, these kids are the most creative kids in the classroom, and I'm out to prove that you can do great things when you've got it.
And just explain briefly what that is.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Basically, the people who get told to stand in the corner a lot or go stand outside the headmaster's office, them kind of people. But they are generally the most creative kids. They're not necessarily the most academic, but they're the most creative. And we all know in this world, it's not all about academic kids anymore. 50% of the really good jobs are down to really creative people, architects, artists, designers. They're all the people who generally have this condition, because they're the people who don't want to sit there and listen to rules and regulations, and they want to go off and do their own thing.
You're suffering from this, or it's probably the wrong word to say suffering, but you've got it, and it makes your brain go very fast. You're a very speedy person, aren't you?
Yeah, you tend to think about 7 things at once, you tend to do about 7 things at once, or you tend to do nothing. And when you do nothing, you can slip into a depression, and the depression is very, very dangerous. And these kids that are getting identified with it are getting put on nasty drugs. One's called Ritalin, which has Class A drugs in it. And I've been doing a little bit of a test over the summer in Ibiza. I've had people living around me with ADHD. A lot for myself, to learn about it myself and to learn how to deal with these people and how to deal with it myself. And I've come up with the conclusion that education is better than this medication. I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody, but it's certainly got to be worth the try before you go turning these intelligent kids into zombies. But unfortunately on the Isle of Man, you can't be diagnosed with it as an adult, and I went to get diagnosed with it officially this week, and I got told that there is no specialist and that I've been put on a waiting list to see a psychiatrist for a year. Now, I've had so many emails off parents who have got kids with this condition, parents who've moved away off the island because there's no facilities here for them. There is now a specialist over here, but it's a 2-year waiting list to see him, and that's for kids. So hopefully this film might raise awareness of it, and maybe by the end of the film there might be at least a specialist that adults can go and see, because it affects adults just as much as kids.
Well, you're no stranger to the telly, because obviously a few years ago one of the satellite channels caught up with you when you were in Ibiza doing your thing. Yeah,
well, the idea was, part of the 5-year plan was to get to Ibiza, to try and get on telly doing what we were doing, which we did, to then go back with a brand, Tap, which we created in the Isle of Man, and then achieve something as a brand. And we did boat parties. We won 3rd best boat party. We beat Pete Tong, Judge Jules, so that was quite satisfying. And then we came back to the Isle of Man and did some club nights, and they were successful. And then we went back to Ibiza this summer to do monthly club nights, and they worked really well. And then now's the time for the film, and the second film we'll start filming about this time next year, so it's a very tight schedule. There is definitely going to be 2 films. We are involved with the Manx Film Commission. We are currently going through the process with them now, but ADHD does make you want to do things on your own, so I'm also got a bit of a backup plan, and I'm out raising the funds myself to make sure this thing happens 100%. And I've already got it to the stage now where it's definitely happening, but the better it happens, the better the film will be. So, I'd like the Film Commission to be heavily involved in it, because they've been set up in the Isle of Man to support films, and with this being a Manx film and Manx people, I feel that we're entitled to it as much as anybody.
So it's really going to follow your life?
Yeah, just the last 3 years. It will start with some of the clips from my rallying career, because I was British rally champion in Group N at the age of 19. So it'll start with a few clips from the rallying, then it will go to, unfortunately, a police cell where, because of this condition, a lot of people end up getting in trouble, and I made one mistake in life and I paid for it very, very heavily, and I've been paying for it ever since. And that's what makes me more passionate about raising awareness on this condition, and at the end of the day making a damn good film. And if we can bring a few tourists back to the Isle of Man, because although this film is about Ibiza, it does involve the Isle of Man heavily. There will be quite a lot of it shot here, and we will be involving Manx actors as well. And we've got such a good scenery here, it would be a shame not to use it, wouldn't it? So it's a story of two islands, one that got it 100% right and one that's still trying.
Please like and subscribe to the Isle of Man TV channel. Thank you.